Oh my god, it's finally going to happen. Did you guys hear the news? We're finally getting a brand spanking new Mugler Amen flanker. This is really, really exciting. It's taken about 4.5 to 5 years for L'Oreal and Mugler to finally give us a new flanker from their Mugler Amen series of fragrances. It's called FANTASM, and they're launching it next to a feminine release in the Angel collection of fragrances, and I'm very, very excited. But get this. If you've been watching my videos on Mugler fragrances, I've been mentioning in the videos, come on Mugler, give us an eau de parfum. Well, the new flanker, Amen FANTASM, is an eau de parfum. I'm going to talk to you about this, break it all down, both the men's and the women's, and then also give you my top 5 Mugler Amen fragrances. There's a surprise in that list as well. And then I'm going to give you a alternative for each one, a budget alternative. So find out all about this coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. Very, very exciting news. Amen FANTASM is going to launch soon. In fact, both Amen FANTASM and Angel FANTASM by Mugler are on the French Mugler website. As of the shooting of this video, there's no actual, well, yeah, you can't buy it, but it's there. So I'm hoping that once it launches there, they're going to launch it here as well. I'm hoping it's going to be right away because the previous flanker 2 Alien launched here in the States pretty quickly as well. But I'm very, very excited that finally L'Oreal is doing something and launching a men's fragrance in the Mugler collection. And for some strange reason, FANTASM seems to be the collection. I guess we're getting a brand new feminine fragrance and a brand new male fragrance, which is, again, very exciting. And the fact that it's also eau de parfum concentration. Let me know if you're a fan of the Mugler fragrances. You know, I'm very excited for this, but I'm also kind of holding my breath. I'm not sure this is going to be a wow, because the last men's fragrance under Claren's group, because Mugler and also Azzaro were under Claren's group, the folks that have the skincare line, they sold or got rid of both Mugler and Azzaro. And so the last fragrance that came from Mugler in the Amen series was called Ultimate. It was a major letdown. I couldn't stand that fragrance. It was okay, not a wow, but mostly I got bored of it really quickly. So I'm hoping this is going to be good. It has patchouli in it. It will come in a 100 ml and a 50 ml. And the notes are patchouli, Grand Cru dark chocolate, clary sage, bergamot, citruses, and pink pepper. So the patchouli is what both of the fragrances are known for. Patchouli in both the men's and the women's. And the original Amen, which used to be called Angel Men, launched in 1996. No perfumer is mentioned for this, and the prices I don't know, but it'll come in 100 ml and a 50 ml, and it will be in an eau de parfum concentration. Again, I'm very, very excited. Mugler was one of the reasons why I really started being obsessed with fragrances. Amen, Pure Havane, Pure Malt. So many different flankers that they launched were amazing, amazing scents. And even for a designer, the fragrances were like unique, not necessarily like other men's fragrances or designer fragrances. And the patchouli was a highlight for both the men's and the women's. So they are highlighting the patchouli in both of these fragrances as well, which makes it exciting. And I like the idea of patchouli and chocolate together. That sounds really, really exciting. The chocolate has been in the original Amen for quite a while. It's probably appeared in some of the other fragrances as well, the flankers for Amen, and here it comes back. I just hope it's really great, as good as something like the 5 fragrances I'm going to talk to you about today, my top 5 fragrances in the Amen or something else collection that launched within the last several years. Almost 30 years now when the initial Mugler Amen fragrance launched in 1996. So in 2 years, we're going to celebrate 30 years of Amen. Are you a fan of Amen? It's on the list here. It's the first fragrance that really got me into appreciating really appreciating fragrances. And it's been a favorite of mine, although since the launch of that fragrance almost 30 years ago, it has gotten watered down. But this is very exciting. Let me know your thoughts on Amen Phantasm. Are you curious? If anybody's gotten their nose on it, do let me know. Put a comment down below. Any info you guys have, put a comment down below. Let's talk a little bit about the feminine release, which is basically Angel Phantasm. Again, Angel was one of my favorite feminine fragrances. When I was going to film school, I worked in a photo lab during my time in college. And that photo lab, the ladies came in with their Angel perfume on. And I smelled it after, you know, printing photos and things like that with the chemicals. The smell of Angel was just perfection. It was just amazing. And so this is a brand spanking new flanker to the original Angel. Remember last year we got Angel Elixir, which was completely a floral fragrance. I don't know. I think that fragrance was a dud. Flop also. I don't think it went anywhere. I don't think they should have called it Angel. They should have called it something else. But here we have an Eau de Parfum concentration Angel Phantasm for women. It will come in 3 sizes, 100 ml, 50 ml, and 25 ml. And so, again, no perfumers are mentioned for both of these fragrances. I don't know where they went with. But the initial Angel was created by Olivier Cresp. The initial Amen was created by Jacques Huclier. So Olivier Cresp over at Firmenich, Jacques Huclier over at Givaudan. So the Angel Phantasm is going to include patchouli essence, bourbon vanilla infusion, amber, coconut, fleur de tiare or tiare flower, bergamot, and pineapple. So is it going to go tropical? Because Alien Goddess is all very tropical. Although they're highlighting the patchouli once again, so it's most likely like a patchouli, you know, vanilla fusion or combo with the amber, of course, and then you've got some tropical things happening because coconut, tiare, and also pineapple giving you all of that tropical edge to the fragrance. I think that's something new. It's not going to smell like Alien. I don't think so. But you're gonna, I mean, if you're a fan, you probably want to get your nose on these fragrances. But one thing I should say before I move on, Alien Hypersense, which just came out earlier this year, I think it's a good release. It doesn't seem as beefy as I wanted it to be. So I have a feeling these are going to be like that as well. They're not going to be very robust, even though we're getting eau de parfums. The days of the designers giving us something really full of life and intense are over. Because they're going to come up with an elixir, a parfum, yada, yada, yada. So they're doing these on the lighter side these days. This is my opinion. This is what I think. I mean, fragrances back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, were so potent even for an eau de toilette. The stuff that they put in the fragrances were, you know, like just intense, like so overwhelming. And they would fill a room, but now it's hardly even like that. But either way, I'm still excited for both of these fragrances. I can't wait to get my nose on them. As soon as I can get a bottle, I will report back here. Again, if you've gotten your nose on these fragrances, let me know. Put a comment down below. So let's start with the list. A top 5 list of my favorite Mugler men's fragrances. Mostly Amen. I've got something else here. But, you know, I should also be honest. My lists do change. My tastes change. So this list is fluctuated. But feel free to go catch my other videos on Mugler. In fact, I have been planning to do a video on complaint mostly, but also a list of what's going on with L'Oreal not releasing any men's fragrances. And here we are. And I don't have to do that video now to talk about the anticipation for that fragrance. But I do want to include these 5 fragrances. They're my favorites. And then I also have some alternatives for you guys if you're having a hard time getting them. 4 out of the 5 you can't get. 1 you can get, but it's not very distributed widely. And we're starting off with that. The original Mugler Amen right here. Remember, it used to be called Angel Men. They changed the name to Amen because Angel Men kind of a bit on the feminine side. So this has notes of caramel, coffee, patchouli, vanilla, honey, milk, tonka, benzoin, lavender, and mint. What a great fragrance this is. An amazing fragrance. And also beast mode. Extremely intensely beast mode. Instantly loved this one when I found it. But you know what? Since I was smelling the woman's fragrance so much during my time at the photo lab, I was anticipating this one. It didn't launch in the States, especially here in San Francisco, until around 97. So a year after it launched abroad. And I was really, really anticipating, and I got it. And it was a super potent fragrance. In fact, I wore so much of this. I gave it as gifts to relatives, brother, sister's husband, my dad, people that I was a big fan of it. But it's gotten watered down. It's not what it used to be. The robustness is gone. It's a bit flat. You know, like how you leave Coca-Cola and it just goes flat. These fragrances, that's what's happened to them. Like I said, it's almost 30 years old and it launched in 96. So it's 2024 now. But this is sweet. It's woody, spicy, earthy, patchouli, lots of vanillic touches, caramelly touches. There's warmth in there, like warm spices. But there's a little bit freshness in there as well. Coffee, amber. There's also a light honey touch. People also got this tar note. I can see that, but I never really got it fully. And actually, personally, whatever that was, it's no longer there because this thing has gotten so flat. So intensely flat. But again, one of the best fragrances ever. I really admired the directions that the Mugler fragrances went into, especially having such a visionary clothing designer, fashion designer, Thierry Mugler, who was inspired by sci-fi and comic books and things like that. So the inspiration for the fragrances were all around those kind of things. So either way, at number 5, Amen, the original Amen. And I'm going to give you an alternative here that I just recently discovered. It is Mercedes-Benz Club Extreme, this one right here. So this is an alternative and then not. A lot of these fragrances are not going to be dupes that I'm going to give you the alternatives of. So this, to me, smells like an Amen take on something like Layton or Carlisle from Marley. So if you haven't gotten your nose on Mercedes-Benz Club Extreme, I recommend you do it, especially if you like those kind of fragrances from Marley and also the idea of Mugler's Amen. So this has notes of patchouli, amber, leather, sandalwood, woodsy notes. There's musk, mandarin orange, bergamot, you name it. There's a lot of different notes here. And it is a fantastic fragrance. They're really great. Again, not truly identical, but the idea is here. You'll be reminded of Mugler Amen, but also kind of reminding you of the stuff you get from, Marley. But I think because this is created by Olivier Cresp, and a lot of the fragrances of Marley are created by some of the Firmenich perfumers, because Olivier Cresp works for Firmenich. But either way, Mercedes-Benz Club Extreme is a great alternative to Mugler Amen. If you haven't tried it, check it out. Of course, you can still get the original Amen. It's not as easy or widely distributed. I had read somewhere that it was only selling on Mugler's website. No retailers are selling the Mugler Amen. I don't know how true that is anymore. Of course, you probably could find it at discounters. I recently brought back a bottle, as this is very low. I brought it back from a store in France that was having a major discount. So putting this at number 4, this is Pure Malt. I know this could have probably ended up to the top of the list, but somehow with the whole list I have here, it fit at number 4. And this was actually, this along with Pure Havane were like some of my favorite early on in the reviewing game. Like in 2010, somewhere around there, I had just bought these 2 fragrances and I took both of them on a trip to Italy. And I wore them. Basically, I didn't take a lot of fragrances. I just basically took these 2 fragrances. And I wore so much of them on that trip because that trip was like almost a month long. And it was either, Pure Havane, when I want the tobacco honey, or the booziness of Pure Malt. But either way, Pure Malt is here at number 4. It's barley, fruity notes, peat, whiskey, patchouli, vanilla, coffee, amber, orange, and musk. So it's basically a flanker of the long-standing Amen, which launched in 96. I believe Pure Malt launched around 2009, 2007 to 2010. I can't remember the exact date. But it's basically a boozy take on the gourmand touches of the original Amen. And it was super, super delicious. Really, really yummy. I've gotten a little bored of it now, I should be honest. But, early on in my career when I hadn't had the experience of all of the fragrances that I have experienced with now, this was super fantastic. Again, I really, really loved it, and I enjoyed it a little more than Pure Havane. Right now, it's switched around. I prefer Pure Havane over Pure Malt, but this is definitely one of a kind. So it's fruity, it's boozy. There's a whiskey here. The whiskey note is prominent. There's woods here. It's sweet, earthy. And of course, the earthiness comes from the patchouli that's in here, and there's a warmth in here and spices. Of course, patchouli. I would call it a gourmand, but it's not your traditional syrupy, sweet, sticky kind of vanillic gourmand. But it's for sure gourmand with the booziness and the, you know, fruity notes and things like that. And of course, eventually it gives you an amber touch as well. So that is Mugler's Amen Pure Malt at number 4. But I'm going to give you the alternative here. This is FOMO Illusion d'un Soir. This one right here. So this, to me, is like a combo of Grand Soir from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian and also Pure Malt from the house of Mugler. This is uber boozy, and even though I probably get a little booziness from the Grand Soir, it's boozier here with this, and again, it's also very inexpensive selling over at Fragrance Buy. I'll have links to all of these budget fragrances as much as I can in the info box. But if you like the idea of something like Pure Malt along with Grand Soir on the budget, inexpensive, definitely try. It's Illusion d'un Soir. Kind of like Grand Soir, but it's Illusion d'un Soir from a house called FOMO. I believe this is a Fragrance Buy owned brand. But this has bergamot, tobacco, guaiac wood, lavender, benzoin, labdanum, mandarin, cumin, musk, cinnamon, patchouli, amber. Really super delicious, really budget. It's great. It smells really, really great, and I like the idea of Grand Soir and Pure Malt together. The other thing I should say is this also reminds me of Animal by the brand Animal, if you guys are familiar with it. So either way, great alternative for Pure Malt, but you're not just getting Pure Malt alternative, you're getting other things as well, like, you know, Grand Soir and Animal. So the combo is really great. So at number 3, it's Mugler's Amen Ultra Zest. So this is definitely become a favorite of mine. This is actually created by Jacques Couklier, who created the original Amen, along with Quinton Biche, both over at Givaudan. So this was a sunny, sunshiny, bright take on the original Mugler Amen DNA with blood orange, tangerine, coffee, cinnamon, ginger, patchouli, vanilla, tonka, black peppermint. So it was a kind of a strange combo that really worked. You got the warmth and the freshness together. They would clash, but in a good way, and it smelled great. It's almost like tang, or this kind of very synthetic kind of I don't know if that's the right word to use, because it's something you would drink. I'm talking about like this kind of like fake orange kind of drink that you can get. It kind of reminded me of that, but in a thick way, in a dense way, and it's super delicious. It's like I said, it's bright, it's sunshiny, and you have freshness there, you have warmth there. It's just a big blast of sunshine, eventually settling down to the DNA of Mugler's Amen. But you have all those orangey touches up top, so it's really, really wonderful. So it's citrusy, vanillic, and warm and spicy, sweet. Of course, you're going to get the patchouli touches, the coffee touches, the fruitiness of the blood orange. Really wonderful offering. So that is Mugler's Amen Ultra Zest, sadly discontinued. But recently I reported on this by Athena Fragrances. It's neon orange. This is 100 ml for around $50. So basically it's a dupe of neon orange, and I think it's a really great take on neon orange. This is the closest out of most of these that comes to being similar, although there's one more here that I'm going to talk to you about in a little bit. But really great take on the Ultra Zest, Amen Ultra Zest. It's featuring blood orange, coffee, mint, malt, cinnamon, patchouli, cedarwood, vanilla, tonka. If you're missing Ultra Zest, Amen Ultra Zest, try this. It will totally, totally take you back. I'm going to spritz some on because I really, really love Ultra. Oh God, it smells so good. I really, really love this, and it totally reminds me of, the neon orange totally reminds me of Ultra Zest. It's so close, so close. So if you haven't tried it, do try it, or hunt down a bottle of Ultra Zest, because prices are really high on that, unfortunately. But the next fragrance I'm talking about at number 2 is Pure Havane. Pure Havane is the fragrance that's supposed to be honey tobacco. For me, I don't get a lot of tobacco from this one. the idea of tobacco is here, but it's mostly a honeyed amber with vanilla and things like that in the Mugler DNA. So the notes are honey, tobacco, vanilla, cacao, patchouli, amber, styrax, labdanum, for one delicious fragrance. It's wasn't my favorite between pure malt and pure Havane. Later, I switched around because I prefer the way pure Havane smells a little more than the way pure malt smells. Just something about it is very comforting. And it's an amber in the end. There's a lot of ambery touches here. So it's honeyed, and there's chocolatey touches. There's a vanilla in here, of course. The patchouli is really, really great. It's a great fragrance. It's been duplicated. There's other fragrances out there. And then there's also the reminder of pure Havane with Naxos from Xerjoff. Again, I'm not talking about that one. Most of you know that already. And if you are a fan of that, go for that. It's a much more expensive fragrance, but I love Naxos, really do. For me, Naxos is more of a warm amber fougere style rather than this being that. This is more honeyed. And even though the other has honey as well, not as syrupy, sticky, and also that has lavender, so it takes me into a fougere direction. Here it doesn't have the lavender, so it's more like a honeyed patchouli, tobacco, kind of an amber, although the tobacco, as I said, is not so prominent. But I'm going to recommend a very inexpensive fragrance. Unfortunately, it's the cheapest bottle, so I've got it taped up, but they are online selling. It's Rayon's Tradition Insurrection 2 Wild. My little thingy right here has fallen off. But if you're looking for an alternative, I think this will definitely work for sure. I've had this for the years. I spoke about this one even on the previous channel. So I've had it for a while. And like I said, this thing is so cheap. It's fallen off. That's why it's taped. But this is like a dupe of pure Havane. If you're looking for pure Havane, you can't find it, go with Rayon. Rayon's Tradition Insurrection 2 Wild. It's tobacco, honey, vanilla, spices, tonka, cacao, and woods. It's not as it doesn't have that like expensive smell as pure Havane does, because this does have a bit of a cheapness about it, the way it wears. But once you get past that, it's a great dupe of pure Havane. And I'm not saying pure Havane is the most expensive smelling fragrance, but when you compare them side by side, the Rayon smells a little cheap. But if you can only get Rayon as an alternative to pure Havane, I think it's definitely worth it, so check it out. And then last but not least, at number 1, it's Mugler's B-Men. Not A-Man and not an A-Man flanker, it's B-Men that launched around 2004 and unfortunately discontinued because people didn't get this. Or it didn't succeed, or, it wasn't prosperous for them. I don't know if it was a flop, because I knew that there was people that liked it. And this one, to me, I bought it in San Diego at a Nordstrom in 2004, around the summer or in the fall. And then in the end of the year, I had a trip to New York City in 2004. I spent a Christmas time in New York City. I wore so much of this in the cold, and it was snowing, and it was a perfect fragrance in 2004 in New York City in the cold of winter. But this is spices with rhubarb, licorice, patchouli, anise, vanilla, leather, cedar, violet, vetiver, musk. So some of the databases list different notes. For me, this is mostly a licoricey anise fragrance, and this is what I was under the impression of. But they're also listing the rhubarb, and is that why it's red? Because of the rhubarb? Whatever it is, it's a fantastic fragrance. Totally different than A-Man. It's spicier. Really, the licorice gives you that spice, but it's kind of a greenish spice and a slight bit booziness as well. And of course, it has the patchouli, the vanilla. There's leather here, woods, and of course, musk. Wonderful, wonderful fragrance. Sadly, I can't find anything really close to it. It was a very original fragrance, and I believe this was created by Christine Nagel, now at Hermes, along with Jacques Huclier, who created the original Amen. So, is the red because of the rhubarb? Does anybody know? And I don't know why some databases say rhubarb and some don't. And the other thing is, didn't Christine Nagel create the rhubarb over at Hermes? I can't remember now off the top of my head. But a wonderful fragrance. If you can get it. But if you can't, I've got an alternative here that's not like a dupe, but I think it'll work because it's anise and licorice. Once again, it's L'Empika Homme. At one time it was called Masculine. And I think these two came out around the same time in the original form of Lempicka Homme. This is absinthe, anise, licorice, cedar, woods, ivy, violets, labdanum, musk, orange blossom, rum, sugar, vanilla. Not identical. This is not a dupe. It's just an alternative that has a similar idea with the licorice, the anise, and then also this one also has absinthe. So you've got these kind of similar smelling spices. I absolutely love the spice, and I also love to drink absinthe or anything that has anise or liqueurs made with anise. I think that's why I like these two, because of this liqueur that I really enjoy, like ouzo or arak or raki or pastis, and as long as it's just that stuff and not like uber sweet. But in the fragrance, of course, it's sweet, and this is great. It's a great fragrance from Lempicka. It's a masculine. Well, now it's called Lempicka Homme, but great alternative to the now discontinued B Men, which is my #1 favorite Mugler men's fragrance. It's not an Amen flanker. It came on its own and left on its own without any flankers, unfortunately. But either way, I'm excited for the new Mugler Amen Phantasm pour Homme. I guess it's not called pour Homme, it's just Amen Phantasm in Eau de Parfum concentration. Let me know if you are. Put a comment down below. And also the feminine, I want to check it out. Check both out and see what they are like. If you want to pick up these discounted fragrances as alternatives, I have links in the info box. And let me know what your top 5 Mugler fragrances are. Put a comment down below so I can find out. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today. Let me know your thoughts on the new Mugler Amen Phantasm and the Angel Phantasm. Put a comment down. Otherwise, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. But can you tell I'm excited for the new Mugler Amen Phantasm? I really am. Can't wait to get my nose on it. See you later. Bye-bye.